So other services can be Service Bus, Azure AD, Azure Active Directory Domain Services, Multi-Factor Authentication, Automation, Scheduler, Azure Backup, Site Recovery, Key Vault, Security Center. Then you have services which come under the Intelligence and Analytics head, which provide you services like machine learning, HD Insight, which is an Apache Hadoop cluster on the cloud. It provides you with stream analytics, cognitive services, data lake analytics, data lake store, Power BI embedded, Azure bot services, Internet of Things, etc. details. So you have multitude of services being provided to you by Azure. And as you move on, you keep on learning new services. The objective of this particular course, that is Azure Infrastructure as a Solution, is for you to concentrate your energy on infrastructure services like compute, networking, data storage, and web and mobile. We'll also be having an in-depth discussion on Azure Active Directory, Azure Backup, and Site Recovery. Now let us move on and talk about various compute hosting options provided by Azure. So Azure provides several options to provide applications and compute-based services from the cloud. There are various functional components for providing applications from within Azure, which can be your app service and app service environment. It can be your cloud services. It can be your virtual machines. These are the three options that you can see here on the slide. Apart from that, you have three other options. You have Azure Service Fabric, you have containers, and Azure Container Service. Let's first talk about app service and app service environment. So you can use app service to quickly provision and create web, mobile, logic, and API apps in Azure. App service is a PaaS solution, so the platform automatically provisions and manages the underlying infrastructure and operating system. We can create application service solution by using Microsoft ASP.NET, PHP, Node.js, and Python. Web applications that use app services can also integrate with other Azure services including SQL Database, Service Bus, Azure Storage, and Azure Active Directory. So by using multiple copies of an application hosted on separate virtual machines, we can easily, rapidly provision and scale app service based application. We can publish code for application service applications by using Microsoft Web Deployment tools such as Web Deploy, Microsoft Visual Studio, Git, GitHub, File Transfer Protocol, Bitbucket, Codeplex, Mercurial, Dropbox, Microsoft Team Foundation servers, and the cloud-based Team Foundation service from Visual Studio Online. You can also migrate using migrate your existing on-prem sites to Azure by using existing tools and guidance, which we will be discussing when we talk about web applications. So you can use app service environment to create multi-tier dedicated environment in which you can run web apps, mobile apps, and logic apps. Application within an app service environment can connect to each other inside a virtual network. Now let's move on to cloud service. So Azure Cloud Services offers multi-tier scalability for Windows-based web apps and greater control over the hosting environment. So when using Azure Cloud Services, you can connect to your virtual machines and perform a variety of management tasks interactively, such as registry, modifications, and Windows installer-based installation. So you typically use Azure Cloud Services to deploy more complex solutions than app service can provide. Azure Cloud Service is best suited for multi-tiered web apps, for web applications that require a highly scalable and high-performance environment, for web apps that have relatively simple requirements such as additional application dependencies or minor operating system changes. Now let's move on to virtual machines. So Azure VMs provides the greatest flexibility and control of the available compute options. As an IaaS solution, Azure Virtual Machines operates similar to Microsoft Hyper-V Virtual Machine on Windows Server 2016 or 12, etc. So you have complete control over the virtual machine at the operating system level, but as a result, you're also responsible for maintaining that operating system, including installation of updates. So unlike with Azure Web Apps and Azure Cloud Service, you can not only deploy any of the operating system available in Azure Marketplace, but you can also use custom operating system images uploaded from your on-prem virtualization infrastructure. So Azure VMs are best suited for highly customized apps that have more complex infrastructure or operating system requirements, or it is also best suited for hosting Windows Server or Linux application and infrastructure services such as Active Directory domain service, domain name service, and database management system. Now, apart from these three compute hosting options that are listed on the slide, you have Azure Service Fabric and containers. So Azure Service Fabric is a cloud-based platform for developing, provisioning, managing distributed, highly scalable and highly available services and applications. Its capabilities are a result of the functionality that these services and applications being divided into individual components called microservices. Common example of such microservices includes your shopping cart or user profiles of commercial websites and queues, like for example Amazon.com. It includes gateways and caches that provide infrastructure services. Multiple instances of these microservices run concurrently on a cluster of Azure VMs. This will sound very similar to the multi-tier architecture of Azure Cloud Service, which supports independent scaling of web and worker tiers. However, Azure Service Fabric operates on a more granular level, which we call as the microservice, which allows more efficient resource utilization while scaling to potentially thousands of virtual machines. Additionally, it allows developers to introduce gradual changes in the code of individual application components without having to upgrade the entire application. Another feature that distinguishes Azure Service Fabric from traditional PaaS service is support for both stateless and stateful components. Azure Cloud Service are stateless by design. To save the state information, they have to rely on other Azure services such as Azure Storage or Azure SQL Database. Now, Azure Service Fabric, on the other hand, offers built-in support for maintaining state information. This minimizes or even eliminates the need for a backend storage tier. It also decreases the latency when accessing the application data. Another type of hosting option is containers. Containers are the next stage in virtualizing computing resources. Virtualization to a large extent reduces the constraints imposed by physical hardware. It enabled running multiple isolated instances of operating system concurrently on the same physical hardware. So container-based virtualization virtualizes the operating system, allowing you to run multiple applications within the same operating system instance while maintaining isolation. Container within a virtual machine provide functionality similar to that of virtual machine on a physical server. However, there are various differences between containers and virtual machines. Now, when you're comparing it with virtual machine, containers offer several benefits. Like for example, it offers increased speed for developing and sharing application code. It provides an improved life cycle for testing applications. It provides an improved deployment process for applications, an increase in the density of your workloads, resulting in improved resource utilization. So if you all have heard about Docker, Docker is a service which provides you with container services, while in Windows Server 2016, container service is included with the Windows Server technology. Now, let's move on to understanding Azure service model.